Okay. We just want to give a shout out to Bronson Studio. Thank you for allowing us to use your space once again. If you want to get in contact with them, call, message, check Google. Everything is right there. Once you search bronsonstudio.com. .com?
Yeah.
Yeah, .com.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Jabari Show. And we are here with a special guest. I don't want to butcher your last name, so I'm just gonna say your first name, and people should know who you are. This is Bekim. This is Bekim. Sorry, not Beckham. Bekim, and you're here to talk with us about, creative individuals and promoting their business, or not forgetting that as a creative person that the business aspect is also a key and integral part of being a creative individual, because how are you going to eat when the day comes?
It's a question I asked myself when I was younger.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me. It's nice to be on the Jabari Show. Between two Jabaris, in a sense. Is that an appropriate joke? Can we cancel that?
It's fine. I think it's
Please
fine.
cut that.
I think it's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, I think so. I'm Bekim. My last name is Rousseau.
Yeah.
And I've been working in the digital and media space for roughly 13 years.
Right.
And I started off as a writer for a magazine called Mako Magazines. And from there, my expertise in digital grew out of a curiosity to learn more about it. Growing up, I didn't care for computers and anything like that. But once I entered the world of work, and my creativity only took me so far, I had to learn new skills very fast.
Yeah.
So I think creativity for me over the years played a backseat to business, and that part of me slowly died.
The creativity part.
Yeah, the creativity part, because I put so much emphasis on business and helping other people with their creative projects.
Right.
But now, having learned that lesson, that creativity is a part of everybody's job, everybody's work, I think it's my part to teach from where I've learned and share with creatives who might be struggling in a different way how to succeed in business, and offer my strength where it's most valuable.
Yeah.
So that's where I've been playing for a long time. I had a lot of corporate stuffy jobs that sound exciting with, chief digital officer, regional commercial manager, and also strategic director for a number of companies in the creative space.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
You said it sounded exciting, like the jobs, about what made them not exciting.
What made them exciting?
You said they sound exciting, so that kind of gives the impression of
Them
it sounds cool, but it's not really cool.
miserable. Like I didn't have any fun
I wouldn't say miserable.
Yeah.
I've been very lucky to do exactly what I want throughout my entire career. Very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the fantasy or the story of a job and a position that sort of fascinates you and draws you to a specific industry and career.
Yeah.
And when you do get into the office, when you now need to collaborate and you need to assign value to your creative work, you realize very quickly that you are underprepared to meet a lot of people where they need you to be.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I'll draw on my own experience. When I first started at the magazine, I didn't really know what my job would entail.
Right.
I started off interning, reading some of the old magazines and writing short blurbs and little captions for photos and so on.
Yeah.
Dog work, basically.
Okay.
And as my diligence in that specific area got better and better, more responsibilities were assigned to me. And these weren't just the creative, fun things of being a writer. It was the research, the dedication to talking and interviewing specific people of a specific level in an organization. I had to learn that very quickly.
Yeah.
So the glamour behind the job immediately evaporated.
Yeah.
And I realized I was not at all prepared to work in an office.
Okay.
So I had to learn. Unfortunately, I had good mentors in that office as well.
Yeah.
Some good editors who were guiding me on how to do things from a business point of view, how to establish relationships with people who are senior to you or people who work across the table from you. So the glamorous part of the work was replaced with work, sweat, staying up late.
Yeah.
And I no longer thought of writer with the capital W as a glamorous job anymore.
Yeah.
It was hard work with a lot of revisions to the articles that you would write.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I left school and
Yeah.
the revisions for like punctuation in school. Oh, no.
Yeah.
The editor would send notes and as an adult, seeing a paper with red ink all over it,
Oh yeah, for sure.
traumatizing. Very traumatizing. And that's just one aspect that I feel comfortable enough to share. Because I think most people will be in that space where they go after a job or a career knowing the fun side of it, but not really paying attention to the serious side, the part that I like to call invisible work.
Yeah.
You know? It's like when nobody's watching, what are you doing to move the needle forward or become more productive in the space that you're operating in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that.
Are you good at invisible work?
I
feel
try
like I'm
to be.
terrible at it. I'm like, when nobody's watching, I'm
Want to
just
lie down.
probably on YouTube. I want to lie down. But because like when Jabari would come to the studio sometimes, he'd be like, I feel like you're working all the time. And I'm like, no, when nobody's here, I am
Not doing
probably
anything.
just watching the wall. I'm watching the paint dry.
I'm guilty of that. I think everybody is, no matter what they're willing to admit.
Yeah, like I really just want to sleep. Like,
Yeah, sleep is underrated in this day and age, right?
Yeah.
I think sleep is highly important, and if you're creative, you need to recharge your batteries somewhere
Yeah.
or somehow. And that invisible work, when I say that, I don't necessarily mean or only mean the hard stuff.
yeah,
There's fun aspects of creative work too that get you motivated, whether it's researching a new topic,
Yeah.
investigating platforms and tools,
yeah,
learning new techniques. That's invisible work, that's skilling up. And that could be fun. And it makes the sweaty, hard, challenging tasks bearable.
Yeah.
And a YouTube break in between tasks isn't terrible.
Well, the YouTube break normally goes from, I'll just take a 5 minutes, and then it's like 5 hours later.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
didn't
can't
really.
do that. I know my weakness. I could do music. I will play music in the background and I will listen to the same song on repeat non-stop.
Yeah.
I irritate some co-workers with that because I used to do that while I would listen to it very loudly on my headset and somebody would just look at me and like,
Okay,
I've
yeah,
had
it's like-
enough.
yeah,
Take it
yeah.
off.
Yeah, yeah. It's been 5 hours.
Yeah, it's been
Pick
a while.
Pick a new song, please.
But
Yeah.
in that was a great coping mechanism for me to get through like long lists of tasks, because while I'm supposedly torturing other people, with
Yeah,
this-
you're
with
pumping
this
out work.
hum, I'm working and
Yeah.
working relatively fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So invisible work is not all that bad. It's not all about YouTube breaks and all that either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get to the point of pinpointing what I guess is your calling? Because I think a lot of people, they think you're not really sure, and then 3 years go by and it's like, well, I'm doing this right now. I don't know if this really is where I'm supposed to be, but I'm doing it right now. When did you realize, or what was that turning point to be like, okay, this is the space that I need to be or want to be in for my career?
That would be curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I said it before, I've been very fortunate to just do what I've wanted throughout my career.
Yeah.
But the development of my skills and what I learned was determined by my curiosity.
Right.
If I liked something enough to pursue it, get frustrated with it, make mistakes, overcome those mistakes, and just keep doing it over and over again. That was the signal to me and my brain that, yeah, this is something you like doing because you're willing to make mistakes in it.
Yeah.
And revisit it over and over and over again. I follow that instinct to this day.
Yeah.
I recommend that to everybody. If you're not sure about what you want to do in life, find the thing that you're willing to make mistakes over. You know, you're not afraid to make mistakes. You're just more curious to overcome it. You're more curious to learn what is the fumbling point. That's how you know you really love something.
Do you think in some situations, people just may not be allowed to make mistakes?
I was one of them.
In the sense of like, you know, you want to work for this company. This is your dream to like work with these people. I don't know. Let me say making shoes. Right? But I feel like the way how some companies are built, the people inside, they really don't allow you to like make a mistake. You know, it's kind of like you need to be on point all the time.
Yeah.
With what you said, do you think with that added pressure, should somebody still, you know, kind of follow through with it, or should they like seek, I guess, employment or doing their own thing like elsewhere?
That's a great question for two reasons, and I'll answer it in two parts. The first thing, as a creative person, discovering your passion is one thing, right? And as much as I say you find what you're passionate about because you're willing to work through the mistakes and repeat that process, but when you're a creative person now entering the world of work, you need to understand that you're working within a bigger structure, and a business requires a certain level of focus, commitment, and consideration.
Right.
So let's look, and I'll draw upon my own experience because I've worked with a lot of creative businesses in different countries, and I've had my challenges growing up. I'm still very young. I'm not as old as people might think. And my experience is broad, but it's the same kind of experience we'll all have, right?
Yeah.
So when I'll shift from the magazine to my next job, where I was a digital strategist. I started off as a junior learning digital and learning how to create campaigns for clients in the digital space, where nobody was really aware or adopting digital in a strong way. So I was learning something new on the job. I was young, and I made a few mistakes with campaigns, setting them up incorrectly and not really understanding how to revise, check over my work, because I always thought about, okay, I have all of these tasks that need to get done. So I forgot about the business side of what I was doing, and I was more invested in how I was producing and what tasks I was focused on. But the oversight of not double checking my work cost me a great deal. I was called into the office to discuss what happened, and based on that, I had to be honest. I don't believe in lying. You always need to tell the truth, always. And I had to admit to people who trusted me with that work that I made a mistake. And you know, I had to also remember too, no matter what they told me in the moment, that I was working for a business. I was not working for myself. I was learning, and I was in a safe environment that allowed me to do some really great things. And they trusted me, and I dropped the ball. And it was difficult. It was hard. But it taught me a valuable lesson about being creative and being business-minded, and that those two things don't have to be separate. They can come together in a really beautiful way. And that's what I want to talk about. That's how I work with clients. I work with a lot of businesses in the cottage industry. These are small businesses who make their living crafting, designing, writing, baking, and they have these amazing products.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the business side, getting those products on the shelf, getting those products outside of the Trinidad market into other markets, they have that hard time.
Yeah.
And they don't want to make mistakes because that's their livelihood.
Yeah.
So I, again, learning from my experience, wanting to share from what I know, I offer that insight to people.
Right.
Because I think I didn't go through all of that torture, embarrassment, for no reason.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that you have to learn from your mistakes as well. You can't just barrel through any kind of work, creative or not, and not learn from the mistakes. The mistakes, they identify your passion for a certain thing, if you're willing to pursue it further, despite making the mistake. But you can't just let mistakes rack up behind you in the years. You have to get better. And if I can help people avoid that based on my experience, I want to.
Yeah.
And I commit my time to that.
So I want to talk about your business, where in the beginning phases, can you talk about like how it is you would have secured that first client, or how is it going about getting that first client in the space that you're in?
Yeah.
Seeming that it is cottage industries, where this small, is it that you had to reach out, or is it that someone came to you?
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh, that's a real good question and a lot to answer there. So I hope I'll answer it in the parts that I'm about to share. So firstly, I am a digital and media consultant.
Yeah.
It is a simple way of explaining the much bigger work that I am actually capable of. I am a strategist by nature, and I think I've learned that from writing, working in the publishing industry, and also working for brands. So as a strategist working in the digital space, I use what I have under the company, which is Digital Mass Solutions, to help clients realize their business online. So that's the first thing. And I think it's important to make that clear, because I am not selling physical goods. So I can't set up a shop in a mall, or I can't put my product on the shelf. I have to find creative ways to market my business and get clients to come in. The first thing, I have a lot of experience and I've worked with a lot of companies. So that was a good foundation to start finding business for the consultation. My network through that experience is very strong and varied. So that specialization in digital and that strong network based on my experience and where I've worked laid a solid foundation for me to say, I'm open for business, and start to get people messaging me, calling me, asking me to review or audit their social media presence or their digital footprint to start working for myself. It was not easy. It's very hard. Even though I had that solid foundation to work with, I still had to find ways to let people know what I was doing. Now, a blind, deaf, and dumb man or woman would say, you need to go in front of a camera and you need to start putting out social media content and promote yourself. I did that and it did not work for me.
Right.
And that made it even more hard for me to get business in the traditional sense. And because of that, instead of just sitting with myself thinking, oh my God, I'm not getting any clients from my social media posts. Am I engaging enough? Am I funny enough? Am I, camera friendly enough? I asked myself all of those things in the earlies because at that point in time, that's what everyone was doing.
Yeah.
And my work didn't seem to make sense, even though I could tell clients what to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was a very funny position to be in, and it's very touchy. It still touches a nerve for me sometimes. The fact that I was not successful with that.
Okay. I judge people on that sometimes,
You do?
Yeah. Because I'm like, how are you going to tell me how to grow this thing and you can't even grow your own thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I look like fraud.
No, but some people naturally, they just, I don't know what it is, but when you press post, it just doesn't do well. But you could literally grow a brand.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I had that. And, it forced me to look inward and to see what it is I was doing that was wrong. Mm-hmm. And I think I had to separate myself as a strategist from myself as a social media digital person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those two paradigms of thought are different. Yeah. I keep them separate. I'm fairly private. I don't like sharing a lot of stuff for any and everybody to see. I learned over the years that was not for me. I fell on my face a couple of times. And I was just like, no. So I had to find a new way. Right. And for me, it was a lot of networking. It's an old, tried and true method I learned from my father. You have to be seen. I don't need to be seen on camera, but if I'm seen at events where it's relevant, where I am an expert in my field and I know people within that circle, it is me actually doing the social media work on the ground.
Right.
And it's part of my process to help clients who are on the ground, who can't break into social media or digital spaces. I explain things to them like that.
Right.
It means as well that I have to get intimate and ask sort of softer questions about their relationship with social media. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I meet people who are like me. They're not ready to share things openly. So how do you get them to cross that line when they're really ready to pursue business online? Yeah. And it's my job to help them see that path. It's my job to say to a client, you're accustomed selling at, let's say, an open air market, and you now want to get your product to everybody in the country, but you don't have the capital to start a brick and mortar. So you want to open an online store. That's the easiest thing. Yeah. So I help them build that. Once that's done, and it's done properly, we look at their brand, we look at the style of their, the way that they carry themselves, the way they make things, the way they talk, and we reinterpret that for, let's say, media formats that make sense to the business.
Right.
E-commerce is one, social media is a different thing.
Okay.
And I've learned to trust social media content producers with the brand strategies that I develop for these clients to get them that visibility. Okay. I always think it's important to tell the truth. And while I do know how social media platforms work, I always lean into the support of people who can do it better than me. Now that's hard because you don't want to find somebody who's willing to collaborate but who's also doesn't recognize what collaboration is. Okay. Especially when you're doing something in service of somebody else.
Explain that for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like give me okay, me and you.
Yeah.
I'm willing to collaborate, but repeat the last part of it. They're willing to collaborate.
They're willing to collaborate only so far. It's the face value of collaboration.
Okay.
And if we look at industries, let's say film and the production of videos,
Yeah.
A team gets that done. A director has a role, a producer has a role, a gaffer has a role, the editor has a role. They all contribute to this big picture, the story that's being told.
To audio.
Audio.
No, I just feel like audio people were left out. That's all.
We could never leave
That's
them
all. I
out.
just feel like they're left out.
We can't. It goes without saying. but that's everybody has to contribute in a meaningful way, but in a very specific way. Sometimes you meet collaborators who are very creative and they want to put their hand in everything. I'm saying that because I was once like that when I was very green in the industry, not understanding that while my creative ideas might be good and might be appreciated, the one that's being executed needs to be honored first. And I need to recognize my part in it, not my involvement in the complete thing, because I'm not involved in the complete thing. It's a team of people. And it's like that in business. And creatives need to bring that understanding of collaborative work into business too. Because it doesn't just begin with the people helping me make the thing. It's also about the people who are enabling you to make the thing.
Right.
And you're collaborating with them across the table.
Yeah.
So sometimes that oversight, again, it's a very small one, but if you keep avoiding it or overlooking it, your business will fold up before it even starts. You get a reputation as a creative. People don't want to work with you because you're difficult. You're too intrusive with your ideas. You don't give people their space. It's a very delicate situation to find yourself in, especially when you're young, because nobody's going to sit with you and tell you in any soft way, humble yourself. Nobody's going to do that.
Yeah.
They will embarrass you. And nobody will stop to embarrass you. And if they do have that conversation with you, it's not going to be at a time where you're ready to hear it. So you almost need to check yourself before you give somebody else that chance to check you. And that's what I mean about the you have to know how to collaborate with people.
Yeah. How do you so as a brand strategist, you know, a lot of business owners want to have their hand in everything as it pertains to their business, as you would have said. It's their baby.
Correct.
And how do you get across to business owners, hey, to have something you have to let go and let the team pull it across the line? Because I feel like telling someone let go of something that it's like, hey, this is
that
what
they
is
built from,
feeding me,
basically from the ground.
Yeah.
How
do you get that across to business owners that need to have their hand in the pie the entire time?
Over time you will get to find your style of doing that. But a compliment sandwich is always good. Here's something nice. Here's really what you need to fix, and let's wrap it up with another nice part.
That's how you build your sandwiches, huh?
Yeah.
you start off with your bread, then put the stuff in between, and then the bread at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. We have to start somewhere. We have to start from the bottom up.
You made the sandwich
from the top down.
Yeah, that's how you started your sandwich.
That's how you make a mess. Let's just say that. That's how you make a mess. But the compliment sandwich is a great strategy or great tactic, I should say. But how do I do that? I recognize that I am an enabler of somebody else's vision. When a client hires me to help with their digital presence, I need to understand that it's not personal. My skill is what they are hiring me for, and I need to deliver on that skill and the excellence I promise with it. Style and aesthetics are subjective, and in the service of client business, you need to acknowledge what they want, right? You don't make a cake for somebody's birthday and then, get all in your feelings when they enjoy it and it's theirs and they claim it as theirs because it's for them. You made it for them.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't make it for yourself. So it's that kind of thing you have to also understand. There are more complicated aspects about copyright in the creative space that the average person does not know and will not be aware of and will not care to hear.
Yeah.
So it's your job to either educate them on the copyright of the creative work or the IP, the intellectual property, if you choose to. And if you don't, the compliment sandwich is always there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To draw an example, I was working for an agency in DC.
Okay.
And really lovely, vibrant leader there. Wonderful personality, charismatic, knows what she's talking about and everything. And when I joined her team as a digital director, I also brought my expertise into the room.
Yeah.
And there were times where she would suggest something, I would suggest something, and we couldn't find the middle ground. And in that moment, I needed to realize I'm working for her.
Yeah.
I am servicing her business in my capacity. I cannot allow my expertise to get in the way of that relationship.
Yeah.
So again, this was at this time, I didn't torture myself and I did not embarrass myself, right?
Yeah.
I took everything that I knew about business etiquette and I paid attention to the conversations we were having, the success and the progresses that we were making, and then knew it was my time to dress back. I had that conversation with myself. And I think sometimes to get to that point, it may take a lot of falling down and bouncing your head against the wall. But again, I'm hoping that with my new approach to work, I could help people with that too, young people who are scared to have the conversation with their clients about, so I'm having this challenge with this client, how can I secure the win-win?
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Yeah.
It isn't.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Do you think, because I feel like you mentioned this very early on when you were talking, you kind of had the choice of being creative and, making money. Do you think because you chose business is why you want to help people? Like, how do I word this? Because you had the option, went with business. Do you think that is why you now really want to help young people focus more on the creative side and you would handle the business? Because maybe you gave up that dream of...
No, absolutely not. I wish I had the encouragement to pursue my creative whims early on, because my decision to focus on business was mine. I don't regret the decisions I've made in my life. That decision to focus on business was something I chose to do.
Yeah.
And it was also, it supported my unwillingness, fear to jump into the creative space, because I did buy into that notion, creative people don't make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Even though I was in the people and them industry working hard.
Yeah.
I'm in this because I see so many creative people who were brave enough to do what I didn't do struggle with the part that I am aware of.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't want to be reductive, because people do work hard and expertise is expertise for a reason. But I believe in my situation, I am more willing to help creative people pursue their business because I also see the joy they get when their creativity and their business start to click and make sense.
Right.
And when they start to make money, that feeling that they get, the pride that they feel, like I'm working on something with a client now and we're almost done with her packaging. It was a challenging road because of how much work and expense went into it. But crossing the line with them when they feel like they can't do it on their own, when they've been told no, when they've been challenged by systems greater than them, is the best feeling when you have the company supporting you along the way. It's the best feeling.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love watching creative people win.
Yeah.
I just do. And I want to help.
What is your workload like?
My
how
workload?
many? Yeah, like how many projects are you working on? Because I feel like what you just said, you kind of want to be there with the person and like help them cross the finish line. And I feel like you could only help so much people cross the finish line at a time.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't be helping 50 people cross the finish line at a time. I feel like it's like 10 or less.
You cannot. And you cannot. It's a great question to ask because I need to take care of myself, right? We talked about rest. We talk about having those moments during the work period where you take your little YouTube break or
Yeah.
So I need to be mindful of that. And as a creative, I also need to think about my own creative work as well. So I need to schedule time for balance.
Yeah.
Striking a balance between my work and helping other people and what am I doing to restore or sort of regenerate the necessary energy for my own self. So my balance is I work with who I want to work with.
Okay.
I follow that instinct.
Yeah.
If I don't feel like that person is prepared, whether in their sales pitch, whether in the way that they communicate their vision, or whether how they manage their current process. You could tell a lot about somebody based on how they manage certain processes.
Right.
And it's my job to find that out first before I agree to work with anyone.
Yeah.
I ask questions and I only work with people if they satisfy that criteria that I have.
And how do you, I guess, distinguish? Because, on that first few interactions, people have a facade that I'm trying to impress to get this work done. How do you, I guess, see behind the smoke screen that people, I guess that comes from experience, but, at what point did it really click with like, okay, I know you're just putting up a facade just for us to start working.
Yeah.
I can see a nightmare behind that smoke screen that I don't want to get into.
Well, you have to listen.
Yeah.
And ask the right questions and don't ask to respond. Don't wait to respond. Listen and listen actively.
Yeah.
Try to keep the conversation around that specific subject area. So if you're, okay, I'll use an example in fashion.
Right.
If I'm dealing with someone who is a stylist let's say a stylist. I know they work in fashion, but if I am having a conversation with them and they want to build a styling business, and you start to talk about you want to do a fashion line, you want to do makeup, you want to do all of those things, you've already jumped outside of the business opportunities in styling, and you're now focused on a fantasy.
Right.
So as a business-oriented thinker, you're going to hear stylist and you're going to ask the question, how many clients do you have right now? What relationships do you have with retailers and fashion designers? And you get that seriousness from that conversation based on their answer.
Right.
It's not lofty, it's exact, it includes mention of actions that can be done right away, and they're building a network. You're seeing that they have a level of experience with a number of clients. So that's how I investigate that particular question.
Right.
And do it in conversation. You don't have to drill down into them or like, where's your resume? You don't have to do any of that. But have a decent conversation. Ask them to talk about styling. Where do they get their sort of unique pieces that let people know that this wardrobe was pulled together by this person, for example? Yeah. So ask them questions specifically about the thing they're interested in building, business-wise. And then once you gauge that, then you could have the conversation about makeup and hair and fashion and a clothing label, for example, in a store. You do want to imagine and fantasize in this creative space. But I think sometimes we do that too much.
Right.
And we forget that to get to that end goal, we have to start from where we are. We have to focus on what we have and what we're doing.
Right.
So that's that.
I want to ask a question on something you would have mentioned earlier, where you said you would audit a business. I know when some people hear audit, it's like, hey, yo. Yeah. What does it look like in your case to audit a business? Or what does auditing mean or look like?
Okay.
Well, I guess that's a two-part. What is an audit, and then what does the process of an audit looks like?
Okay, so for me, auditing a business is usually looking at their digital footprint.
Right.
So for me to properly price my work with them, I need to understand what they have. So I talk to them first, and then based on their willingness to work with me, the audit begins with, okay, how many social profiles do you have, for example? One.
We started up our water business the other day.
Okay,
we're selling
great.
canned water.
Right, do you have a website?
What's it called? Cracked?
Cracked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
sure? You sure about that?
It's canned water. It's like cracking like a coconut. That's how I thought about it.
Cracked.
Cracked water.
We'll workshop that.
We'll work on the name.
We'll workshop that. So the auditing begins now.
Yeah.
It begins in this casual kind of conversation.
I have an Instagram and a TikTok.
You have an Instagram and a TikTok.
Yeah.
We assess all these fantasy decisions. We assess things like that. Do you have a website?
No website, no.
Do you have plans to sell online?
Yes.
Okay. What does your direct-to-consumer model look like?
I don't know what that is.
A direct-to-consumer model is basically how most people in the Caribbean, in cottage industry, sell.
You mean like any grocery store? Like?
No, it's basically, I have a social media page and I am offering my cupcakes to you directly.
Oh, okay, yes.
It's direct to consumer.
Yeah.
And the bigger, more fancy versions of that will be like your Warby Parkers, where you can go online to the store, see what they have, order it yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's a direct to consumer model.
Okay.
So the audit, I'm asking questions about their digital footprint, because that is how that enables business online. I want to understand the skill set and the resources of your team. Do you have people who understand social media? Not just use it, not just scroll through it. I need to know if you are comfortable with computer. Can you use a computer efficiently? Yeah. Because that then tells me, okay, well, we need to make considerations for either training this person, or I need to put some time into it to help them. It's all of that. So an audit is, without getting into the super technical aspects of it, it's basically understanding what they have. Right. And in a context for my client base, I want to understand your digital presence.
Okay.
Whether you use WhatsApp alone to sell, to manage your business, or to manage the inventory between different stores, because some people do that.
Through WhatsApp?
Yep. And the curbing
Yeah, WhatsApp
people
business is very like.
I don't know. I have never used it, so I hear people using it. I'm just like,
Yeah, because you could have like a catalog and everything, and like list all the different
Wow.
business. You could have different businesses.
You can have a lot of things on it.
and you could have different items in each business, I believe.
Yeah. It's as
Yeah.
complicated
It's
as you're
intense.
prepared to work with it.
okay,
Yeah,
and something new.
yeah. I used to work when my old job, the lady when we had to like buy when we had to buy new stuff
Mm-hmm.
because she was like a supplier.
yeah,
So she'd work for the company that has like all this stuff, and she would come in and check in, like, you know, you have this amount of stuff in stock. She just literally put up everything in her WhatsApp business.
mm-hmm.
She's like, anything you want, just message me and I'll bring it for you.
And
Instead of
most
me
people
having to
do that.
come in to like look at it,
yeah,
just let me know. I'm showing you everything, what is there.
right.
Order it, send me a message, and I'll just bring it next week.
And that's facilitated by a lot of invisible work. It
Yeah.
just doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
It means that she would have had to catalog everything. It had to be mobile first so that she could send it over WhatsApp. She needed to have the communication with you as a customer. So it's understanding how they use technology
Yeah,
and the best way to, the way to improve it and make it easier for them.
right.
Yeah.
So that's an audit.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Full stop.
okay.
In this abridged sense.
Yeah, yeah, something.
No,
No, I thought you were.
I thought you had-
Questions, man. With his official iPad.
That's why I'm
and
saying
notes
I
and
don't have
thing.
iPad.
I was like intimidated. I was like, we're going to do a
Yeah.
60 minutes interview or questions upon questions.
So now, putting yourself in those spaces to meet clients,
Mhm.
how do you get yourself to those spaces? Is it that like something like where we would have met in the creative space, the blank space?
A blank
sorry.
space.
Yeah. Do you have to, in some of those events, would you have to like buy tickets to get to those events, or, you know, how does one get to rubbing shoulders with the right people? Because I think, you know.
You said robbing weird.
What?
You said robbing weird.
You think so?
I heard robbing.
Okay.
So I was like, why are we robbing people now?
No, so a lot of people are like, okay, I don't know how to get into those spaces. How do I have to get invited, or like, you know,
You download the app.
download that?
Download an app.
Yeah.
You
Called-
can, but not everybody uses the app, right? You can. There are apps like
Oh,
Meetup.
I thought you was joking, you know.
No, I literally spoke to him about this,
Yeah,
and then he was like,
there's
"There's an app for everything."
There's an app for everything. There's a really good app for meeting people for events, mixers, professional kind of gatherings, and it's used a lot abroad. It's called Meetup.
Okay.
But locally, you know, your network is your first port of call when you
Yeah.
want to explore things like that. Ask around, ask questions, use social media, do a blast, find out from your community.
Yeah.
You never know who is involved in some sort of space that you might be interested in to offer information.
Right.
That's one way. Well, two ways. The app plus reaching out to your community in real time. And then the more events you go to,
Right.
and the more you announce your intention or basically say, I'm interested in these type of events, and the more you go to them and the more you're seen, the more you'll be invited to, and the more your expertise is revealed, the more you'll be asked to participate and
Right.
contribute to the success of that event. So keep your ear to the ground.
Yeah.
Ask your network, and if that doesn't really deliver quickly, research.
Yeah.
Just go to Google and just type events in my area related to creativity, and you should find something. And this is what I help clients with too, right?
Yeah.
Because you won't know if you don't put anything out there,
Yeah.
and you don't always have to put a social media post out there. You could start simply by setting up a Google My Business profile so that when people do have those general questions, your business can pop up. And it's your contact information, it's your website, it's your location, all of those things. So we need to use digital, and I help clients index their business in those spaces as well.
Yeah.
Because social media is such a small part of digital work.
Yeah.
And it's heavily emphasized here because it's one of the easiest things that everybody is accessing. But there's so much more. And that curiosity, if you're curious enough to just go to the ends of the internet to find information on things that are probably on different side of the world from you, that's when you know you're doing the right thing. That's how I found about my courses in Spain. So I studied in Spain for a while, and I didn't know, and I was ready to learn more. So I just watched a few YouTube videos based on what I was interested in, listened to the language that they were talking, and kind of did research on the topics. And then I researched it, and I found a list of schools, and I ended up finding the program for me.
Right.
I met some really great people at those events. That's how I discovered Meetup.
Yeah.
It's kind of important. So you just follow that curiosity and do your little research, and you should be fine.
What did you study in Spain?
I studied data visualization and infographics, and I also did innovation and design thinking.
Sounds intense.
It is. The Europeans can be a little intense. I mean, in general, they have a lot of language to discuss these things because they're so ahead. So sometimes if I talk about futures design and disruptive strategies, it's lost on the local market.
Yeah.
Because in Europe and in America and Canada and even Latin America, they've invested a lot into the development of these spaces.
Yeah.
So you'll find it. It's just a drop in the bucket.
Could you describe what Ripple is?
Ripple. I started Ripple because I wanted to meet more people.
Right.
And who were creatively minded, ready for business. And Ripple was just a collective of, let's say, vendors who I've usually worked with on other projects as well. And I've always wanted to push for innovation.
Right.
I think there's so many creative things we could do outside of digital spaces that are enabled by digital processes. So experiential events, is just one example. So you need to find those people.
Yeah.
You need to know that, without drawing them into a seminar or drawing them into an event, not everybody's ready for that, and times aren't ready for that. But you want people to know that here's a space to keep up to date with information. So I'm actually working on a newsletter to start sharing some of the insights for that kind of work with that small community.
Yeah.
When I started at Mako, one of the first things they gave me to do was the newsletter. And it was like a little mini publication in itself.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to the drawing board and pulling out the old tricks that I've learned.
Yeah.
And Ripple is the beginning of that. So it's meant to inform, keep people up to date without, the intense need to meet in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody's ready for that.
Yeah. I like to be home. Personally.
Can you tell us about Game Changers?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's a good question. The Game Changers campaign is something I'm working on for the Rousey Group of companies. That's a plug. My father is...
You say it like that.
Yeah, I have to. My father is in insurance business, and that industry is facing a recruiting crisis.
Right.
A lot of people have stigma behind the profession, and they're hesitant to do the work. It's hard work. It's tough work, but when it's done properly and when you have the right talent, it's the best time that you could ever have.
Right.
Well, yeah, we know a couple of people in insurance.
Yeah. This insurance community is really good because you find people collaborating in a space that is tough. And the Game Changers campaign is meant to find more like-minded people to join the industry.
Okay.
So it's a recruiting campaign. but done with a little bit of better vibe.
Okay.
You know, the Rouse Your Group and my dad's legacy is all about hard work, but also good fun.
Yeah.
Family oriented type entertainment for families to get together, communities to benefit from, because that's what insurance is about.
Yeah.
It's about helping communities prepare for the life that they want. So Game Changers is basically trying to change the narrative
Yeah.
of the industry, the profession, and to call people who basically want to do something different in their life.
Yeah. I wanna touch on.
You wanna join?
The
There's a link. Accepting resumes now.
I wanna kind of mesh the two where, as a business owner, you would need insurance to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you wouldn't need if nothing happened, you know.
He's definitely not a game changer. You could watch YouTube. Go on.
For the business owners that maybe like, I don't feel like I need insurance now. How crucial would you say insurance is to your business, and how critical can it be to ensuring that you have insurance to secure your assets?
Well,
On, I guess.
I am not qualified to answer that question on a technical level.
Right.
Check out Game Changers at rouseyourgroup.com/game-changers for more information to find your trusted consultant for such queries. But what I will say, some creatives have to find insurance because it's a business and you need to think of your practice as a business.
Yeah.
A studio is a business with a certain set of assets in it, right? A production studio like this, you have lights and very expensive equipment, and insurance helps in the event of fire or something like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes certain creative industries are hazardous, right? Like if you throw pottery and you have not just one kiln but several kilns, you know, that is a hazard for your property. Your property is more than likely the place that you live or rent, so you need to cover your assets so that in the event of things like theft or anything, your business is secured.
Yeah.
But it is a complex question that I am definitely not qualified or certified to answer properly.
Yeah.
But it's as a business owner, there is a lot of value in securing your investment.
And I guess this is to kind of peel off from that, your IP. Securing your IP. You know, some people may think, oh, I'm just going to start this up and I'll think about, you know, that in the later stages where, you know, once it's up and running, at what stage should people be, as creative individuals, should we be looking at, okay, I need to secure my
Intellectual property.
Yeah.
Well, by the practice of creating, you already have the basic copyright, right?
Right.
So it's inherent in the work itself. I learned that recently from a very good consulting group giving a presentation at an event I was at recently. So I could share that knowledge now.
Right.
But you want, if as a creative, you need to actively pursue the protection of your intellectual property with a certain kind of expertise, right? It can be quite challenging. Again, I'm not qualified to talk about that. It's a very difficult topic and very complicated, but it's my job to ensure that when a client, let's say for packaging, one of the clients I'm working with, we've recently done her packaging and we need to help her secure her IP for her brand.
When you say packaging, what is that?
The design of the material that protects the product and makes it shelf ready, basically.
Because I was thinking about like there's two types of packaging that was coming into my head, like the literal like our water business.
Yeah.
Like how the can itself looks.
Yeah.
That kind of packaging, or is it like the packaging of the entire product, and this is how we are going to release it into the world, and like this is what it's supposed to look like and feel like, and so that's why I asked, like,
So
what kind of packaging is it that you're doing?
It's a combination of both, because, all right, this is where we starting to get into like serious territory, and this is where a business like mine comes into play, where we have this. It's not something you could talk about in one sitting. You have to have careful conversation with deliverables attached to it.
Oh yeah, because our water business is very serious.
Okay,
I'm
well,
gonna take over next year.
let's use cracked as the example then. So you know it's water that you're trying to sell, but you have to understand the market you're entering in. You also have to define what your unique selling proposition is, what sets you apart from everybody else.
Right.
And then from there, you start making key decisions that determine your product's packaging IP. Whether you want to offer water in a can, like Liquid Death.
It's water in a can.
Right?
We're making it fun again.
So that's a decision that's affecting your packaging. It doesn't really impact your brand just yet. You just have an idea to package water in a can. But it's a valuable aspect of your product because it informs your IP based on the form factor of the packaging.
Okay.
If you sell water in a bag, because we used to have that, bags of water, and you had to bite it and stick a straw in it, and we used to have juice in bags too.
Yeah, I know about that.
Well, we have water in bags too.
I know about like you could have gotten like peanut butter and like other things that are like in a bag.
Yeah.
Soccer bag, all those things.
Yeah.
All those parlor related things.
Okay, but not people buying water in a bag.
Listen, it used to save lives, okay?
Okay.
Don't eat.
No, you don't.
In our sports day when you're just dehydrated and you're ready to just like run home. But the packaging is what contains the product, and then there's the branding element that sort of further defines the promise of what that product is, and then determines the experience. So your cracked canned water has a collection of features within that idea alone that will deliver a certain experience that's different from water in a regular plastic bottle. You might have a sustainability conversation with your packaging, whether it's a biodegradable form of material, a Tetra Pak, a screw cap, a lid with there are lots of things that you could think about with packaging. But my job is because it's more business oriented, I would then ask you, okay, what size of can are you prepared to manufacture? And how does that cost affect the final retail price? Because if your product's packaging costs more than the product itself,
how are you making money?
How are you making money?
Right.
Will you make money?
How are you paying digital mass?
How are you paying me? He's starting to think like a businessman, because those are the things I need to ask as well.
Yeah.
And as a creative but business-minded person, that's why I do my audit.
Right.
I don't want you to feel like you're just paying me and throwing money down a well.
Right.
I need to know that working with you, there's a viable business opportunity, so that when you make money, I make money too.
Right.
So that's a good question.
Okay.
I rate you.
Thank you. You were answering another question while I asked that, no?
Wait, you confused me with that question.
No, like when he was talking.
Oh no, just based on the IP was what I was asking about.
Right.
Which.
So he was talking about packaging, and then I asked my question and interrupted your question.
Oh.
I'm lost. I'm just answering.
Okay. It's fine.
This is the Jabari Show, so
it's okay.
How do I go?
What's that?
No, I was trying to go back to my notes, but this did not.
it's official notes.
Why is your like Instagram not anything of your face, or it's very hard to read?
Really?
Because
Well,
I didn't know what was going on. I would like to assume it's
my
plants
Instagram
that
is at Bekim Batoni. But that's my Instagram. My Instagram handle, I choose to.
But the stuff that you post is like trippy.
It's digital photography as seen through my own creative lens.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose not to show my face because my relationship with social media is mine. And it's a form of expression that I get to use in a way that honors my creativity. So I use it like that. I hope it sparks the kind of conversation that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that people don't take things at face value.
Yeah.
I invite people to take a second look and maybe have a deeper conversation that goes one step further than the obvious.
Yeah.
So it's an art practice for me, and it's the kind of thing I use to help understand client business.
Okay.
You know, everything in social tends to be pretty and precise and clear and very sweet. But with my Instagram profile, I wanted to explore something different.
Mm-hmm.
That's the creative side of me jumping out.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was because I took a look at that. I was like, I don't know if this is the right person, but this is the correct name. But I don't know if this is the right person because I can see Jabari following. I'm like, so how to be the correct person? I'm looking at. But okay, that clears that up. But I mean, I guess it also ties into the fact that you're not the person to have to be in front of the camera.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of it. I try them again, and there's more to digital than social media. Social media is a very tiny part of the work, and I can't knock it because a lot of people have formed an industry in our country on social media. So to dismiss that is also not fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you? I know you said you had no regrets in your career, but what do you think may have been, if you're comfortable with talking about it, what would you say was one of the biggest mistakes that it's like, don't go down that road? What was a big mistake that you would say for maybe those who would like to get to your position or create their own business that is there to help other businesses? What is a mistake that you would have made that you can share?
A mistake that I would have made. I mean, I shared one.
Because I know you spoke about the one with the company and they had to pull you aside.
Yeah, well, I wanted to shit glass. At you. Another mistake. Oh, okay. This is something that I'm working on right now.
Right.
My business is in service to other people, and I help them realize their vision for themselves.
Right.
I wish that I put more of my own strength into my own creative practice.
Right.
And it took me a very long time to realize that that's what was missing. Because I was searching for it, and it was like it was in front of my face for a long time. So if you are in a position where you're creating for other people and you find yourself searching and not necessarily getting an answer or feeling resolved about something, it could be that you're suffering from the same thing that I was suffering from.
Right.
I was not pouring into my own cup. I was not creating for myself.
Yeah.
And you need to find it. And my Instagram it was my doorway into it.
Right.
It was my doorway into understanding that this work also should be about me.
Yeah.
How do I do that? And it's strange that I'm here on your show now because it's around that. It's only recently that I've actually figured that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's now I'm ready. Like, I need to talk to more people about this.
How do you pour back into your cup?
I have my own art practice.
Right.
It's fairly private. I've always loved art, especially fine art.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot about non-fiction topics related to art.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot about it. Not many people know that. And I take time to nurture that curiosity.
Right.
Whether it's buying a new book, I just did a wire bending class, which I really enjoyed. My little digital photography on Instagram. I write often. I stopped writing for a long time. And, you go on Lime. Liming is part of filling my cup too. I like to be around people.
Yeah.
That's how I meet people. So yeah.
Okay. I was on your site.
Which one?
The main one, and it led me to, I believe, was it courses? I think. I think I need to fact check myself.
That's okay. I have a lot of websites there, and not everything has my name on it.
What are a lot of websites that you have?
I have one for myself, which is bekimbatoni.com, where you'll kind of find a little bit more about my writing practice and the digital photography. There's the consulting website, which is kind of like a landing page, Digital Mass, dgtlmss.com.
Yeah.
I did that to frustrate people, by the way.
Why?
Because everybody asks me,
Yeah.
what's your company's name? And I was like, it's Digital Mass. How do you spell it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the brand for me, I like to confuse people when I have the chance. And then there's also digitalmomentum.com. DGTLMM.
Yeah. When I first saw the digital mass, I was like, I don't know what I'm reading here.
Yeah.
But okay, I'll take it as it is.
It was deliberate.
Yeah.
It was absolutely deliberate. And, if people ask me the right question about it,
Yeah.
if they're brave enough to have that question, then I know you're serious.
Right.
Workshop. That's what it was about.
Which one?
Workshop. You have a workshop series.
Which can I see on your screen? What color is the website?
It's orange.
Okay, so that's Digital Momentum. I love this. So I'm planning a few workshops.
I love how you know it by the color. It's like it's blue. Okay, yeah, that's this one. I know
The
it.
blue one.
Yeah, the blue one.
The blue one or the orange one?
Yeah. It's
Again,
the orange
these
one.
things are deliberate.
Yeah.
I am dead serious. So Digital Momentum is all about helping people build momentum in virtual spaces.
Right.
I have a website. I have a social media platform. I have a landing page. What next? You need to attract attention to it. So the workshop is meant to help people get into that mindset.
Right.
So when you have a website, there's a lot of work you need to do. The work doesn't begin and end when you just click publish and the website is live.
I thought that's what happens.
Pardon?
I thought that's what happens.
The little...
I thought I just tell everybody I have candle water and they should just buy it, right?
Well, the little microchip man that exists in your computer needs something to do. And while you've constructed this space, they're digital hamsters. Like, however, they're called spiders, technically. Right. What's your question again?
I was just asking about the
workshops.
The workshop.
Yeah, they're meant to help people because not everybody wants to work with me right away. Not everybody wants to or has a business project they need help with. They want to learn something first. So the workshop is about learning. I teach people how to approach online spaces for their business. I teach them the basics of setting up a social media footprint the proper way so that you're never locked out of it because somebody who used to work with you took the password and ran with it.
Right.
Boring him.
No, sorry.
We're boring.
The place is cold. That's what happens when I'm cold.
Yeah.
Yawn.
I couldn't resist to harass you. You're yawning.
No, it's okay.
You have the audacity to yawn?
I know. You just take the yawn and just give me. Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. But yeah, like workshops, everybody wants to learn something.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a safe environment to ask questions. And you know, everybody, when I work with them, no matter their age, always tell me, you know, Bekim, I'm not too good with social media.
Yeah.
And they think that their questions are stupid. I am telling you,
There are dumb questions though.
no, I from where I sit, the people who think they're asking the dumb questions are actually asking the most important questions.
Right. Because you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And let's say, for example, someone says, I don't know how to sell online.
Right.
Yeah.
That could sound like a dumb question to so many people.
Yeah, for
But
people that
that-
know how to do it.
But
Yeah,
that simple question from a
I don't know
business
how to do that. So I write it.
But that simple question from a business person who's
Yeah.
very serious,
Mm.
they want to know how can this online presence integrate with their bank account.
Yeah.
Right.
If they do get X amount of orders and 4 of those orders are returns, how are they refunding those people? That's the question that they're really asking.
Yeah.
So the workshop is meant to demystify the complicated aspects of digital workflows, because it's not that complicated. You just need a safe space to ask your questions and get answers as
Right.
well.
How intimate is this workshop? Is it like an online? Is it like an in-person?
I'm doing it
Are you
in
taking
person.
one person at a time? Is it 10 people at a time? Like,
I usually do minimum of 10 people in a workshop.
and maximum of?
I would say 12 because you want to keep the environment small and get
And
people
intimate, yeah.
interacting, because some people will ask questions that helps everyone.
Right.
But if people I've done one-on-one sessions with executives as well, where they are ready to skill up, but they don't have the time to do an online course. They just need to
Yeah.
know the basics.
Yeah. Come sit down
So-
with me. Tell me what I need to do. And
Yeah, you know where I got that training from? Kid
Yeah.
you not? My grandmother. How you just work this phone?
right.
I think
And-
it's good to have that person
Of
that
course.
doesn't know anything and is also willing to ask.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this happened in a group before where it's like somebody says something, like a word that nobody knows, and then I'm just there like,
like,
what did you say?
It's
I
like-
don't know what I mean. And everybody's like, I also didn't know what he meant.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
And when you ask, nobody will forget what that
You are
means.
right. You're like that one
Like,
word,
I-
2
I'm-
sentences ago.
I'm okay to look dumb sometimes, and I'm like, I have no idea what you just said. Hey Siri, what is this that Bekim said earlier? I don't know what it means.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And I think people are afraid of that.
yeah.
And the workshop helps break down that problem. That
Yeah, where it's not too
yeah.
many people that you're like, you know what, I'll keep my question to myself.
Yeah,
Yeah. In my workshop, you have to communicate. I get everybody involved.
Yeah.
There are activities, there are games, there are also exercises. I mean, if you're going to spend time with me doing this, we might as well have a good time.
Yeah.
Might as well laugh, make
True.
jokes. Yeah. Yeah, work is stressful. Yeah, your flimsy laugh. Yeah.
How long is the workshop?
It depends on the topic. The direct-to-consumer workshop is,
Oh, there's multiple.
yeah, there are multiple ones. Digital Media Essentials workshop could be about 3 hours. But it really depends on the questions. I leave
Oh,
a
so
lot
it's
of
just like
room.
in one day and then
Yeah.
we're done. Okay, I thought it
Yeah.
was like a weekly, like.
No, it's
Okay,
it's
'cause
a
I was
one
gonna
day and
ask,
it's
like,
based on when I'm available. To
Yeah, I was gonna ask how it
manage
fits into your schedule. Like, how does that work?
I schedule it. I can't do it. I cannot do that every week.
Yeah.
No. If I reach that again, I need to find balance, right? And then I
Yeah.
also have clients. I need to attend to their business. I can't
Yeah.
just offer a workshop on a whim.
Yeah. Okay.
So how do you?
I thought that was a weekly thing.
Because Jabari would have highlighted earlier that you're juggling more than one project.
Mm-hmm.
How does? I know technically for a business owner, our schedule does not technically exist. If you have a problem, you have to deal with the problem until I guess the problem is dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
With juggling multiple clients, how do you? Okay, I'm giving Tuesdays to
cracked, and then Wednesdays. How does that look like?
I think we deserve a Monday though. Like start of the week with us, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
That was it.
It
That's
requires a 40% down payment for a
Okay.
retainer that extends to a 9-month period.
Cool. We could work on that.
Right, good. So it starts off with that.
Yeah.
Understanding the request and then sharing the sort of parameters for that scope of work.
Yeah.
So we have to agree on that. From the auditing process, I want to understand what you're prepared to do. And then knowing where you are prepared, we can do a work schedule that has weekly touch base, monthly deliverables, and the scope of work will have a project timeline with milestones and KPIs, key performance indicators, so that we're always accountable for the time we're working together. Because I don't want you to feel like I'm just taking your money and going into a corner, producing something, and then bringing it back to you to say surprise, and then you hate it, right? So the work schedule is determined on the scope of work, and the project kind of suggests key aspects of the project's delivery and production schedule where the client must be aware of progress.
Right.
So with a video, for example, we sit down, we plan the concept, we do a lot of pre-production where we find the location, the key players, the key quotes, and then on the day of the shoot, we produce. So those are 2 schedules already.
Right.
And then the post-production and then the delivery, which is upload or publish. So it's determined by the project scope.
Okay.
How do you... Ow? What is that? How do you make sure that other people meet their deadlines? Because there's certain things that, at least not that I know of, that you can't do. Like when it comes to like, you know, the production side of the video. You know, if there's photography. I mean, yes, I know you take pictures, but...
Me? Or my digital photography?
That's
I don't take pictures.
side quests.
I don't take pictures. Just joking.
Yeah, how do you make sure that those people are like, hey, we need this thing by the 5th?
Under promise and over deliver.
I love that.
Always do that. And it's your responsibility to take care of a team as well. And that's part of the collaboration I was talking about earlier.
Right.
You need to collaborate with the team to your left and right, and also the team across the table.
Yeah.
So if you are working on a project and the client says we need by the 5th, it's your job
Yeah.
to know on your left and on your right whether that 5th date is doable.
Yeah.
Well, that's not enough time. That's going to only accommodate a draft because of pre-production and production date. Schedule, well, let's say the photo shoot date. So you have to negotiate it from the beginning. And you have to know enough about your business's processes, your unique process, as well as the industry standard and your team's ability to deliver.
Yeah.
And you don't want to lie. You want to be accountable. You want them to know that if they are checking with you on the 3rd, that you could tell them, yeah, we're on track. Here's a draft that you could look at now. Give us your initial feedback. If you have too many revisions after this, the delivery date will not be met.
Yeah.
Just be upfront.
Yeah.
Not rude, because they're paying you for the work. You have to remember that. You're in service to other people as well.
Right.
You're not just a creating God. Yeah.
Is there anything else that...
I feel like all you
Anything-
asked me my whole life story.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there's
Business.
anything that we didn't
No, I think
touch on that you probably like, you know, wanted to talk
No.
about or...
I appreciate the questions because I feel like the typical questions I get asked are technical
Yeah.
and sort of business oriented in a way that doesn't help other people learn. So I appreciate the questions you all asked today. It was very well thought of and well thought out. Sorry.
Do you have any advice for anybody?
The whole podcast is an advice.
What was your biggest piece of
That's true.
advice then?
I would say the collaboration is a very important
Yeah.
part. Learning to collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that in creativity, you need to set aside time for yourself. You need to find balance.
Yeah.
And you need to let your creativity meet your business self very early.
Right.
You need to understand that as a creative, you're providing a service, and that service is built on a business model. And you can't let your style and your aesthetic get the best of you and your client relationship. That's what I would say. Those are two important takeaways. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just learn from them.
Okay.
Own your mistakes.
All right. This is how we ending it off now. Random questions.
Oh, I like this. Okay.
Are you a morning or evening or night?
Morning.
Okay.
Early bird, 4 a.m.
What is this? Favorite TV show?
The Foundation on Apple TV.
Guilty pleasure?
Cheese puffs. In particular, cheese with cheese paste.
What?
Cheese
Cheese
puffs with
paste.
cheese paste.
Particular.
He said cheese with cheese paste. Sounds like that.
Cheese
cheese
puffs
puffs with cheese
with
paste.
cheese paste. I'm being
Not the
very
dry
single. I don't want no
cheese.
dry cheese. Mm-mm.
Right. Favorite musician right now? Like, what's your song that is on repeat?
Oh my God. I have a playlist of running songs. Right now, I recently started listening to Rufus, Shaka Khan, and her group. I've been listening to that music over and over.
If you had to be something else that is not like in marketing,
Painter.
okay. If you had a superpower, what would you pick?
Flight.
I would pick flight too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make flying into the sun so much easier on the worst days.
Should we? Is that like a off?
You have days like that. I'm not lying.
No, I
There are
had a
days-
week like that last week.
Yeah.
I'm like, just bury me at this moment because I
Nah, I will just fly into the sun like Icarus.
Speaking of death, if you were to die, what would be your last meal?
good transition.
Oh, my last meal. It's not a meal, but it would be a cheese puff with a very good cup of coffee.
Okay.
I will die happy like that.
That was it. That's all I have.
It's not a meal.
Yeah, that's.
That was.
I think that's it
hilarious.
there. Thank you, Bekim, for coming on. We will link all of your socials and anything to get in contact with you.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I don't know. You easy boss here.